Perfect, thank you. Hi, if I could get everybody's attention, we'd like to get started. Hi, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Mercedes Jones, and I'm the president of the undergraduate student government here at UIC. Thank you so much for making time in your busy schedules to attend the first State of the University of Illinois at Chicago address. Shortly, you will hear remarks from Chancellor Amiridis, but I would like to speak from the student perspective. This has been such an exciting and interesting year for us with so many positive changes and plans that I, along with many other students, cannot wait to see come to fruition. Although my term as president and tenure as an undergraduate student are coming to an end, I am still excited to see what is in store for this world-class university. In the past few months, there have been many challenges, not only for our university, but for all of higher education in Illinois. But I have watched students become more civically engaged and proactive about this university's future and this state's future and direction. I hope that this positive engagement and involvement continues in the years to come. Part of that involvement starts right here with hearing about what we've done this past year and what we plan to do moving forward. So once again, thank you for being here. Now I would like to welcome Catherine Vincent. She is the chair of the UIC Senate Executive Committee and the secretary of the UIC Faculty Senate.
Thank you, Mercedes. And yes, those are two of my roles, but I'm also an associate professor in the College of Nursing. So good afternoon. On behalf of the entire UIC campus, it is my distinct honor and pleasure to welcome you all here today. I want to particularly acknowledge Alderman Raymond Lopez from the 15th Ward and Jose Santillan, a member of the University of Illinois Foundation Board. We appreciate that you all took time from your busy schedules to come and hear the Chancellor's State of the University of Illinois at Chicago address, a first for Chancellor Amiridis, possibly the first for UIC. It is now my honor and pleasure to introduce the Chancellor. Michael Amiridis assumed the role as Chancellor of UIC on March 16th. Since that time, he has visited nearly all of the departments throughout the university, meeting with students, faculty, and staff, over 70 meetings to date. He also meets regularly with the Faculty Senate, the Senate Executive Committee, the UIC United faculty, and many other campus groups. We sometimes wonder if or when he sleeps. Chancellor Amiridis has shared his vision for UIC and enlisted all of our help to propel UIC to the forefront of urban-serving research universities. Before joining UIC, he served as Executive Vice President for Academic Affairs and Provost at the University of South Carolina in Columbia. He was promoted through the academic ranks there and became Department Chair in 2002, Dean of Engineering in 2006, and Provost in 2009. His chemical engineering research has resulted in more than 100 publications, more than $15 million in research funding as principal investigator, and more than $9 million as a co-investigator. Chancellor Amiridis has been recognized with a number of research and teaching awards and was elected a fellow in the American Association for the Advancement of Science in 2012. A native of Greece, Chancellor Amiridis earned his undergraduate degree in chemical engineering from Aristotle University of Thessaloniki in Greece, and his PhD in chemical engineering from the University of Wisconsin at Madison before moving to South Carolina. I am pleased to present to you our Chancellor, Michael Amiridis.
Thank you. Thank you for the very warm welcome, and thank you, Mercedes and Catherine, for the very kind introduction this afternoon. In fact, if my mother was here today, she would be very proud. But looking at my wife, who is sitting very quietly in there and watching her smile, I know exactly what she's thinking. She's thinking, who the heck are they talking about, and when are they going to find the right story? By the way, I know we are running subtitles. If you're still not adjusted to my distinct Southern accent, there are available seats on that side of the room. My term as Chancellor of the University of Illinois at Chicago began on March 16th of last year. On my first day, I paid a pre-dawn visit to the facilities crew as they were changing shifts at that time. I went offering to them Greek pastries and coffee and thanked them for keeping this campus in excellent shape, especially, as I told them, given the very difficult weather conditions that we have to face. I hear some of you telling me how mild this winter has been, but please remember that for the two of us, for me and Iro, this is by far the worst winter that we have experienced in the last 20 years. So I guess I still have a different perspective when it comes to weather and to cold, and I like to complain about the weather, as I found out most of the Chicago natives do by now. Now, speaking of perspectives and expectations, during this quote-unquote surprise visit, the facilities crew appeared to be very prepared, and they gave me a golden shovel. Little did I know at the time or expect of how prophetic and how symbolic this shovel would become, since as you have seen in the last 12 months, I do need a shovel, and I do need a much bigger shovel than this one to dig out of the state mess that we are in. We'll talk about the state budget. Believe me, it's coming on later. After the wonderful visit at facilities, that same day I was shuttled off to an early breakfast downtown, where the University of Illinois at Chicago and the University of Chicago were joined by the mayor to celebrate our collective efforts to bring the Obama Presidential Library to Chicago. My task, my first official action as Chancellor at 8 o'clock in the first day of the job, was to provide the introduction of Mayor Emanuel. It was an intimidating opportunity that I had heard that if it didn't go well, this would be my first and last official action as Chancellor. I made it through that one. But the most important meeting that day was a luncheon with all the leaders of the student groups on campus. And what I told them that very first day that I was here was that the experience and success of our students will always be at the top of our priority list. I also talked to them about the significant advantages of a Carnegie I research university, the unique opportunities that exist in the city of Chicago for them and for the university, and the need for UIC to become more innovative, more entrepreneurial, and more nimble in its operations. I guess many of you have heard this message during the last year. 1 year later, we can reflect now on what we have collectively accomplished, review some of the challenges that confront us, and outline a vision for creating a better and stronger university. I know we have much to be proud of, much to be daunted by, but even more to be excited about. This is a great institution, and I'm confident that we are on the road to become the model urban public research university for the 21st century. After listening to and speaking with so many of you in and around our university, I have no doubt in my mind that collectively we have the foundation needed and the will to build this model university. I have heard this, along with your suggestions on how to do it, in more than 140 internal meetings attended by over 4,200 faculty, students, and staff members in small groups. I have heard it during one-on-one meetings, and I should add plenty of breakfasts, luncheons, and dinners with community and civic leaders, with corporate leaders, with alumni, donors, editorial boards, elected officials, and other university peers in Chicago. And by the way, I have always tried to follow up these meals with early morning sessions in the recreational center, where I pretend to be a hamster in one of these lovely machines that they have. And I have heard it in over 90 meetings, attended by 700 individuals in our surrounding communities and throughout Illinois. And for this, I want to thank Vice Chancellor Michael Redding and Vice Chancellor Jeff Nierhoff and the PGA and the advancement staff for the great work that they have done to set many of these meetings up and give me the opportunity to talk about UIC and about the wonderful things that you do at UIC. Collecting this feedback and channeling the energy and desire into concrete, executable plans is a galvanizing, but not necessarily easy task. This is why we have created, over the last few months, several task forces comprised of students, faculty, and staff to help us focus on the most critical areas. The Strategic Priorities team, which is led by Michael Pagano and Robert Wynn, has been charged by looking into the future of innovative teaching, world-class research, and community engagement, and help us develop plans and goals that will improve the student experience and success as we educate citizens for the 21st century at the same time that we prepare top-notch professionals. Plans and goals that will demonstrate and enhance the local and global impact of our research, scholarship, and creative achievements. Plans and goals that will broaden and deepen our engagement in Chicago and the surrounding communities. Plans and goals that will help us reflect Chicago's diversity in our own community. The research strategy team, led by Steve Everett and Teresa Cordova, is taking a critical look at all our operations. And this task force has been charged to make recommendations on how to improve our services and make the most efficient use of our resources. This is a daunting task in a large organization like ours with multiple layers. But we need to make sure that our own house is in order. And our CFO, Janet Parker, and I have promised this team that we will follow up on every recommendation that they make. And there are other teams working on more specific, yet critically important issues. The Enrollment Management Strategic Planning Team, led by Jeremiah Abide and Kevin Brown. The Campus Facilities Master Plan Team, led by David Tayarets and Fernando Howell. And the African American Student Success Team, led by Barbara Ransby. The common instruction that all these teams received was that they should deliver concrete recommendations by the end of the academic year, which basically means I expect that we will get their recommendations in the next 4 to 6 weeks. I look forward to receiving their reports and sharing them with you, and I appreciate the time and effort that so many members of these task forces have dedicated to help move this campus forward. Of course, preparing plans does not mean that we have not been busy moving forward. A lot has been accomplished during the last year. One of the most important tasks for me was to successfully recruit 2 outstanding leaders. Our new Vice Chancellor for Health Affairs, Bob Berris, who joined us in January, and our new Provost, Susan Poser, who joined us in February, and they're both sitting right here at the front. I know that in a very short period of time, both have made their presence known, and I'm hearing from you that their impact is already visible. With Dr. Berris's arrival, we realigned all parts of the health sciences enterprise, including the hospital, under the UIC organizational umbrella, and we have developed new co-branding standards to reinforce that we are all one university flying under the new UIC banner. Dr. Beris and Dr. Poser are working very well together to ensure that this new structure enhances our operations and makes the whole university stronger and more cohesive. And by the way, this gives me the opportunity also to thank Rick Giselson and Jerry Bauman, who are here today, for the very significant roles that they played in the interim period. This year, we demonstrated, under difficult circumstances, the strength of our reputation by attracting record numbers of students during the worst crisis faced by Illinois' higher education in recent decades, and we reached an all-time record enrollment of over 29,000 students this fall. This number speaks volumes of the quality of our undergraduate, graduate, and research programs. In fact, in the latest US News rankings that we all hate, our overall undergraduate program moved up by 20 spots in 1 year, while 7 of our graduate and professional programs were ranked in the top 10 in the country, and 27 were ranked in the top 50. And kudos to the colleges of nursing, pharmacy, and applied health sciences for having the most programs in the top 10. Our recruiting efforts have been improving constantly as we expand beyond Chicago and beyond the state of Illinois. We do need the diversity of perspective, and let's be honest, we also need the financial support that out-of-state students bring to our campus, and we can attract them to UIC and to Chicago without compromising, and that's extremely important, without compromising our mission of serving our primary constituencies, which is the city of Chicago and the state of Illinois. In fact, a strong recruitment effort is going to support our mission. We have initiated efforts this year to assist our faculty as they consider new pedagogical methods consistent with the needs and the preferences of a new generation of learners. I want to thank Renee Taylor and Maria Varelas for the work that they started in this direction this year at the Center of Teaching and Learning. Just this spring, there have been 14 teaching professional development events, and 76 of our faculty members attended at least one event. These events address important issues such as flip instruction, improvisation in teaching, assessing student learning, and promoting civic engagement to deepen student learning. And I want to thank all the academic deans for responding to the call to review our curricula in order to ensure that our content is up to date and prepares our students for the modern world and the modern economy. The Center for Student Success Initiatives, that is led by Manny Pollack and the Undergraduate Affairs Office, has thus far launched 16 projects intended to make significant differences in the success and the lives of our undergraduate students. Among these projects are improvements in summer session accessibility, a reform of the first-year math curriculum, and a new block scheduling project. Furthermore, a newly reformulated advising center will provide professional advising resources, including intervention strategies, training, and professional development, so that all UIC advisors have common knowledge and are well equipped to help our diverse student body. We have also taken significant steps in improving the student experience beyond the classroom. Under the leadership of Vice Chancellor Barbara Henley, our Student Affairs Group is implementing this fall a new co-curricular transcript to certify and support the activities of our many student leaders on campus and in the community. The same group is also trying to make things more enjoyable on campus, more fun. And I was thrilled by the number of students involved in the festivities of Homecoming Week this spring, and they behaved based on what Vice Chancellor Henley told me. Along the same lines, we threw a great party for over 1,100 graduates in December. We call this a commencement. And I expect that this new university-wide December tradition will continue to provide students and their families with the opportunity to celebrate their success, which they may not be able to do several months later in May, by the way. And at the same time, it will help us build goodwill with our newest alumni. And we are in need of more school spirit. Our athletics department can play a bigger role in this area by helping us build important student traditions. And I'm really impressed by the commitment of Jim Smith, our athletic director, and our student athletes and coaches, and I know a large number of them are here today, not only in the courts and in the field of play, but also during their engagement in and around campus. Access and affordability have been key priorities during this year and will remain so in the future. This year we implemented a change in our undergraduate admission criteria, recognizing that class rank and performance are better predictors of academic success than standardized test scores. With this change, we hope to bring to campus next fall an even more diverse freshman class, especially in terms of African American students, an area where our demographics do not adequately reflect the makeup of Chicago. We have also renewed our partnership with the City Colleges of Chicago, became the first four-year university to expand the STAR scholarship to the completion of a bachelor's degree, as long as the student transfers successfully from a City College campus. And we are working discipline by discipline to assure a seamless transition. And we have also taken the initiative to advise City College transfer students even before they come to UIC and make clear to them that they're welcome on the UIC campus. We announced this program together with the mayor in our daily library last August and secured a rather rare favorable editorial from the Chicago Tribune, and hopefully this is not going to be the last time. Despite the tremendous financial pressure that we are facing, and in agreement with President Kalin and the Board of Trustees, we decided to keep in-state undergraduate tuition fees flat for this coming year, and this is the second year in a row that we will keep undergraduate tuitions flat. I do this to get you a round of applause, but we also do this because we understand the difficulties faced by many of our students and their families in the current state environment. In the spirit of openness and transparency, starting this spring, we will engage student and faculty representatives in the budgeting process of the university, so future decisions regarding new revenue streams and fund allocation are clearly understood and supported by our community members. I also want to thank Vice Chancellor Mark Donovan and Mike Ginsberg for the important work done within our Human Resources Division during the last few months as we reorganize some key components of our internal operations. And I want to express my great satisfaction for the successful conclusion of our negotiations with the faculty and the graduate assistance bargaining units with fair and equitable contracts. Fair and equitable contracts. And I'm very pleased that we did this time with shorter negotiating periods. One particular highlight from the last 12 months was the trip that we made to the White House last summer, where a UIC delegation, including student trustees Daniela Leibovitz and Joanne Hall, our Obama Library Committee co-chairs, Dean Mary Case and Michael Redding, and community representative from North Lawndale, Marcus Betts, had the opportunity to meet privately with President Obama in the Oval Office. This university should be proud of the fact that the President and the First Lady personally reviewed our library proposal, and they are highly complimentary of the work UIC did to make a strong case for the Presidential Library. The President told us that they were very impressed with our bid and very impressed with UIC. We left him with a few UIC items, so he has no excuse for not sporting the UIC logo when he's back in Chicago. But in all seriousness, we have maintained an ongoing dialogue with the Obama Library Foundation, and we remain hopeful that we will have a significant role to play in the programming aspects of the Presidential Center. In fact, we met with the Foundation on this very topic as recently as 2 weeks ago, so please stay tuned. Moving from the national to the local government level, our efforts to establish a stronger relationship with the city over the last 12 months have also gained some traction on multiple fronts. In addition to our agreement with the City Colleges of Chicago, we have signed a memorandum of understanding with the city's Department of Planning and Development. The purpose of this memorandum is to align the city's long-term capital improvement investments with those that might occur at the universities over the next 10 years. In doing so, we joined 6 other Chicago universities which already had similar agreements, and as I will discuss in a few minutes, I expect that we will get moving on some capital improvement projects soon, putting this new partnership with the city to a test. During my visits around the city and in the different neighborhoods, I frequently heard that UIC's presence needed to be felt more strongly, especially in neighborhoods that have so much need. One attempt to respond to these requests is the newly launched UIC Engage program. Under the leadership of our Dean of Education, Alfred Tatum, UIC student volunteers have started working at various CPS schools and community faith centers on the west side of Chicago to provide after-school mentoring and support in writing and math. The response from our student volunteers has been highly gratifying to watch, and I greatly appreciate Dean Tatum's leadership in getting this pilot program off to such a great start in a very short period of time. And I know that Dean Tatum wishes, and I wish, that we expand this program to even more sites next fall. In the same spirit, we are also looking at opportunities to expand our healthcare delivery efforts into additional medically underserved areas. Our 13 mile-square community health center sites, which include primary care clinics, school-based clinics, and nurse-led integrated health clinics, are already serving patients regardless of their ability to pay in communities across the city. Mile-square sites have seen a 35% growth in the number of patients served in the last 3 years, and we are committed to continuing on this trajectory. In fact, we are planning this fall to expand UI health services into the Pilsen neighborhood later in the year. Having an integrated delivery system that includes a network of federally qualified health centers in the community offers convenience and access that is unmatched by any other health system in Chicago and reflects our commitment to health equity citywide. These are just 2 examples that continue to demonstrate our commitment to community engagement and to the improvement of the lives of people around us. In this sense, we serve the land grant mission of the University of Illinois in the best possible way. We are one of the most engaged public research universities in the world. And yet, to my surprise, we have not made the effort to gain the appropriate status among our peers by applying for and securing the Carnegie designation for an engaged university. Since no good deed goes unpunished, I will be asking Dean Tatum to lead the application effort for UIC so that we will be awarded this designation when the next round of proposals is due by the Carnegie Foundation. That is some of what has happened over the last year. Let's now turn to what is more important. Let's take a look at the future. Looking into the next year, we will continue to tackle major issues associated with the student experience and success. I already had preliminary discussions with our provosts, exchanging ideas about recruiting strategies, about a comprehensive international agenda, about innovations in the classroom and strengthening of our pedagogy, about a modern technology-assisted student advising and mentoring system, and about the numerous opportunities that we have in an urban environment for robust summer, evening, and degree completion programs. And I also know of Bob Barris's passion about interprofessional education in the health sciences and his determination to advance UIC as a national leader in this area. In fact, UIC will be hosting a half-day conference devoted to interprofessional healthcare education right here in this building in 2 weeks from now. So watch for both of them as they put their enormous amounts of energy to work. As our enrollments grow, and as our research enterprise continues to flourish, and it appears that we will have a significant increase in our federal research expenditures this year, we need to conclude the previous cluster hiring initiative successfully, but more importantly, we need to implement a new, much broader, university-wide faculty hiring program. A program that will include senior faculty hires, and a program that will also improve our demographics, especially among senior faculty. The budget impasse, I told you we'll talk about it at some point, has not allowed us to move forward with these goals during the past year. But the success that Dean Dimitri Azar and our College of Medicine recently had in recruiting outstanding faculty members in several departments, and the immediate impact that these new hires had are a great example for all of us across the university to follow. As soon as our financial situation becomes clear, we will move forward this year with such a hiring program across the university. A faculty hiring program will also rejuvenate our research efforts. It is important that we build upon our existing strengths, as identified by our Vice Chancellor for Research, Mitra Dutta, and that we protect our core infrastructure of research facilities consistent with our mission as a Carnegie One institution. We also need to ensure that our research support services, including proposal preparation and processing, contract execution, and IRB processes, are as efficient as possible. And we need to protect the time of our researchers and remove unnecessary obstacles to the faculty pursuit of internal and external collaborations and funding opportunities. It will be extremely difficult to achieve our educational, research, and engagement goals without a significant upgrade of our capital infrastructure. We maintain 15 million square feet of space, 130 buildings, and 250 acres of land, and the average building age is 50 years. Within 5%, this is my age as well. That's why you take pictures from far away that you see up there and do not go very close. It should come as no surprise that the dramatic decline in state capital funding over several years has led to a deferred maintenance backlog of $800 million. UIC is trying to address the problem by spending $30 million every year for innovations and repairs. Despite these funds, And despite the efforts of our maintenance group, deferred maintenance continues to grow by over 8% a year. You can do the math. 8% of 800 million is 64 million. We spent 30, you can see where the balance is. Looking at these numbers, I can't help but think of the ancient Greek myth of Sisyphus, who was condemned by the gods to roll an immense boulder up the hill, only to watch it roll back down again and repeat the action for eternity. I was voted down when I said we need a picture of a nice ancient Greek vase up there with Sisyphus, and maybe we could paint Vice Chancellor Donovan's face on it, because that's the task that he is doing. If we are going to break this cycle, we have no choice but to change the financial options for funding capital facilities. This does not mean that we will not continue to lobby vigorously in Springfield for the $60 million appropriated over a decade ago by the state for the Advanced Chemical Technology Building and for the state frozen renovations in dentistry. Lobby vigorously was the politically correct term that people put in here, and I appreciate the suggestion. What I wanted to say is that we will continue to raise hell in Springfield about this. But this also means that we should build what we can, as soon as we can, with our own funds, and we should do everything that we can to bring private funds on campus. So this year, we will use our own funds to build the basic science labs in the College of Medicine, to modernize some of our classrooms, to complete the Mile Square building, to improve the hospital's aging infrastructure, and to construct a new modular design engineering lab building here on Halsted. We are also moving very fast forward with public-private partnerships that will allow us, with private funds, to build a new classroom and residence hall building on Halsted in less than 24 months, and also a beautiful new soccer stadium that will continue the transformation of our South Campus. We have made progress over the last year in terms of our visibility in Chicago, but there is still a lot of ground to cover. We need to continue to carry our message through a campaign in the media, in civic organizations, and in corporate Chicago, so that this city becomes aware of our work and our success and recognizes us for who we are. Chicago's public research university, the University for Chicago. I'm wearing you out. Should I do a change also? Is somebody else going to come? A critical group in this effort, in this campaign of communication in Chicago, is our 170,000 alumni who live and work in this area. And I want to thank Ed Cohen and the leadership of our alumni engagement advisors for their presence here today and their continuing support. I'm really moved by how many of our alumni are here with us today. The recently constituted Chancellor's Leadership Board includes distinguished business leaders and distinguished community leaders. We really have in this new advisory board that I put together, Chicago's A-team. They have agreed to serve this university and help us identify more opportunities for our students and for our faculty within the Chicago business community. It is also time to explore joint degree programs with the city's cultural organizations in areas where our needs and expertise are complementary and where their brand is very strong. And of course, we need to continue to deepen and broaden our involvement in the neighborhoods around us as we create more opportunities for our students, for our faculty, and for our staff to learn, to conduct research, and to serve. Illinois is struggling today with the current higher education paradox. I honestly believe that there is a broad consensus, fueled by the lessons of our own history, that a college education and a strong university system are critical for our collective prosperity. At the same time, the state is challenged to sustain the investments needed in public higher education to support such prosperity. The current budget situation in Springfield is of great concern, and the entire state is at a crossroad right now. As I have told legislators repeatedly in the past few weeks, we are running out of time, and we are now facing the consequences of reputational damage that has already been done and significant opportunity costs that we are paying for right now. If a compromise is not reached soon, operational damage will follow. UIC is in a strong position because of the collective efforts of our students, faculty, and staff, but the absence of a state budget allocation is severely limiting our ability to move forward. The state has a choice before it about the importance of higher education, and we need to make our representatives understand that lack of action is de facto an action against higher education. You know that we have not stood idly by and waited for a budget agreement in Springfield. While we continue to advocate for adequate higher education funding in the interest, not our own interest, in the interest of the state of Illinois and in the interest of our students, we are also developing new models that combine more efficiencies and new partnerships, as you have heard me describing for the last 30 minutes. Such an approach also requires new thinking about federal and state deregulation and accountability. If this state wants us to operate more as a business, at least give us some freedom to do so. How we respond to the current challenges will have very real implications, and we all have a role to play. Our own university and every sister institution in Illinois, all elected representatives, and the citizens of Illinois. And at the end, we should all be held accountable for our action or inaction, because at the end, the consequences will affect all of us. Despite these current challenges, I'm full of optimism about the future of UIC. There's no doubt in my mind that quality, innovation, and location are on our side and will continue to serve us well. We have a new leadership team in place that fully understands the potential of this university to set the standard for higher education in this century. Our students are the faces of the future for this country, and our highly accomplished faculty and staff are fully dedicated to our students and their success, and they're creating the knowledge that fuels our culture and our economy. This is a combination that will not only prevail, but will triumph in the end. It is an honor and a privilege to serve as your Chancellor for the next phase in the university's evolution, and I'm looking forward to working with all of you to help build an even better, an even stronger, and even greater University of Illinois for Chicago. Thank you all for coming today. Thank you. And you can see that this is the first time that we're doing this, because we didn't think about bringing the band at the end, so we will leave with some music. So it is kind of deflating, but thank you.